Hi everyone, welcome back to day 14 of the 100-day Heal Your Inner Child series. And today we're going to talk about something very important, which is practicing compassionate self-talk. Now, this is something actually that propelled me to get into inner child work because I have this critical um, adult, or I would say a critical part of me that can be very overpowering and that can be also very demotivating at times. Okay, so what happens is that when we have a certain kind of childhood. For example, for me, it was mostly my grandmother and my father. Okay. So my father was an alcoholic. So he was very much present, but emotionally very absent, right? So the kind of, I was very critical of myself even growing up because I guess I didn't have that those lenses to look at me to tell me what to do. So I became the parent that I wanted, right? And I became the worst kind of critical parent for myself, right? So now that critical parent continues to live within me, right? When I start working, and so what does it do? It's supposed to give you that protection, guidance, sometimes you need some sort of a push to do certain things. But now, if you continue to push somebody, there comes a point where they're not motivated now. They don't give a damn now, right? Because there's only so much you can take when it comes to criticism, right? So, mm, you know, what happens then is that whatever you do, whatever you achieve, whatever you think is making you feel happy, this critical parent is never happy. This critical parent keeps criticizing because its work is to criticize, and so you never have that fulfillment for anything, and so it becomes a very vicious circle, right? What's the solution to this? Is to actually be compassionate to yourself. You also never got that compassion from your parent or from whoever, right? Sometimes people or parents have certain priorities. They might appreciate something and they might not appreciate something. And that inner child is craving that appreciation for that one thing, right? So today, we can actually change that dialogue, which is very, um, you know, uh, demeaning, hurtful, to something that's very loving and compassionate. Okay. And let me tell you, folks, I've practiced it for years and I still haven't, like, I'm still nowhere close to being compassionate to myself. I mean, I would say it's a work in progress. Yeah. So please do not now, try and be the opposite of that critical parent that, oh my God, I was not loving to myself 24/7. It's not going to happen, right? Do it as much as you can, do it as often as you can. And, uh, and yeah, perfection is the enemy of healing. Let me tell you that there is no perfection that exists. Okay. So sometimes that critical parent is forcing you to be perfect. And this is what you need to rebel against. This is what you need to do so that this critical parent just diminishes and just dissolves and replace it with loving words, right? Replace the why are you doing this? You're useless. You are a loser. You're not able to do this. You didn't achieve anything. Why, why you're so slow? Why you're so fast? Why do you talk like that? Why do you not talk like that? Why can't you be like other people? All of those things, that's your critical parent inside. Yeah. And it could be your real parents, right? But like in my case, my dad never kind of criticized me in that sense, to push me in a direction, or so that I remember, I would push my own self to go to certain extents. So sometimes it can also be imagination, yeah, where circumstances created that critical parent within you. It could be, like I said, for every one of you, it'll be a different journey based on your experience. And of course, that's why one-on-one work is very important But I'm sure if you're able to figure this out, you'll be smoothly sailing through this journey. Yeah. So let's get into the exercise for today. Firstly, let's focus on awareness. Okay. So I want you to actually bring a pen and paper, okay, or a notebook, and then just sit with this exercise, okay? Write down three common critical thoughts you say to yourself. Like for me, I'm a loser. I cannot do this, this is something that's beyond my capabilities. Those are things that I think of. Now, what is it for you? I'm not good enough. I should have done it better. I have a I have bad handwriting. I don't know how to handle stress. I don't know how to handle difficult situations. I always mess up. Whatever those three sentences are, common critical thoughts, write it down. Okay. And of course, when you're doing it, take 10 minutes to do it. Right now, I'm just, going through it quickly. The second is do a voice swap. Okay. A voice swap. Now, imagine yourself as that critical parent and ask this question to your younger self standing in front of you, or just you standing in front of you, and you are the critical parent. Ask these questions to them. Yeah. Like you say this to your, as a critical parent, you're telling, you that, you always mess up. And now I want you to shift that sentence to a compassionate sentence and write that down. So the critical criticism was you always mess up, right? What would the compassionate version be? Maybe that you're learning, yeah. And I just love how much time and effort you put in trying. I appreciate the effort you always put in, yeah. So what's happening is you're turning that critical comment into something compassionate. Take your time, folks. Maybe you have 10 sentences, 10 critical statements. Take your time to transform it into a compassionate statement. Remember, it's a practice. You might not even get it today. You might even take ChatGPT's help, right? And it's okay. But what's important is that you understand the importance of this, of slowly moving from that critical part of you to that compassionate part of you. Because until unless you give that love to yourself, it will be very hard for you to receive that love from outside, which I know many of you are craving for. Yeah. So once you're done with it, you might take half an hour, you might take 1 hour. Take your time doing this exercise, right? 10 sentences if you want, 50. Yeah. And then once it's done, read those compassionate statements aloud in front of a mirror. Yeah. Look into your eyes in the mirror and speak directly to your younger self. Look into your eyes and, just imagine a younger part of you there. 15 years old, 10 years old, 21 years old, whatever. Place one hand on your heart while you're talking to that inner self. Imagine that inner version. In the mirror, look into their eyes and talk to them. Say those compassionate statements aloud. Okay. And then in the end, what you can do is you can journal on these three questions. Okay. What did it feel like to hear these words from yourself? Number two is which compassionate phrase landed the deepest? There'll be one statement that really touches your heart, right? And number three is where can you use this voice in your daily life, at work, in relationships, in self care, whatever it is, because you want to inculcate it and you want to develop this habit, right? Perfect. So today's affirmation is my voice is a source of safety and love for my inner child. My voice is a source of safety and love for my inner child. And with that, we end today's practice. Signing off, Anisha Dutt from Zaria Healings.